Now, one leader is an 11-year-old Charolais bull by the name of Evolution. And this is from the Silverstream Charolais stud near Lincoln in Canterbury. Why are we talking about one bull? Well, in a recent Australian bull sale this month, actually two bull sales, Evolution was come up in lights in terms of setting some dollar records. And this is well into his retirement. Silverstream principal Brent Fisher was delighted when Palgrove's chief executive David Bonfield rung with the news. This is an extraordinary an absolutely amazing average, a whopping $21,133 for an average of progeny. Now, Brent joins us to share this. Brent, Evolution, he's been a pin-up child in the tea rooms at Silverstream for quite some time. This is really special, though. Why are we talking about this? What makes it so newsworthy?
Well, I guess, in breeding, there's always, I guess, the new bull coming along and the new extra special one and things like that. And as stud breeders, that's what we're often always attracted to. But I guess what's special about Evolution is that he sort of stood the test of time, really. This would be he's 11 years old. He's still alive and kicking. And this would be the sixth year that Palgrove have had sons and grandsons in the sale. And this year, I think at the Palgrove sale, I think about a third of the Charolais bulls in the sale went back to Evolution through him, direct sons, grandsons, and out of daughters. So it's quite a monumental, I guess, effort from him.
And over all of this time as well, there must be those defining characteristics and attributes that Evolution has been throwing to contribute to good breeding genetics, regardless of trends.
Well, I think that's so right because the thing about Evolution, the thing that makes him quite special, I think, is the fact that he is 11 years old means that he has to be very structurally sound, and I think that's been a great attribute of him. And also, it just seems his ability just to put a stamp on progeny. It just seems to go on and on through the generations, and I think like these bulls, they go out and in Australia, and when you look at the averages, you say, well, that seems very, very high. But what happens over in Australia is a lot of those bulls, they go on to big properties, and then they breed subsequent bulls. So they'll go into Brahman programs. They'll breed Charolais Brahman bulls, which will then go out and be used in the. And I guess just the size of the operations over there, it's just mind-boggling compared to what we're dealing with over here. And I guess it's such a great thrill to think that he's gone over there and had such a great impact, across not only for Palgrove but for Moongal and just the other people that have used him. So he's been outstanding, really.
Now, we are focusing on a bit of a series in drought-proofing New Zealand farms, and there's a lot that we can learn from beef genetics from Australia. And, of course, when you breed a Charolais bull here in New Zealand, it goes well into those more drought-tolerant, areas of Australia. What do you believe from the focus of beef genetics here in New Zealand we should be focusing on for a resilient animal going into these consistently scary conditions New Zealand could be facing?
Well, yeah, I think it's very apt, and one of the things that we often we focus on, I guess, just the production traits. So we pay a lot of attention to the production traits, but often what we've seen over the years is it's not the cattle that necessarily do really well in the good times. It's the ones that can hang in there in the bad times, and the attributes that they have to have is generally fairly consistent, is that they have to have real terrific structure and also constitution. And if you can get those things, you're pretty much 90% of the way there, because in a good year, anything will do well, but it's in the bad years, and that's the years that you have to have cattle that have got that ability just to hang in there often. And often, I guess it's in sheep, it's in cattle, and whatever, we get hooked up in trends, but the real the cattle that stand the test of time have those attributes because they can just hang in there year in, year out.
Now, of course, Evolution, the bull, has a lot of attention sired by Silverstream Brumby and a cow called Glossy. How important is the dam line with Silverstream?
Always very important. The females, that isn't out of a top female. Like it just doesn't seem to happen. Glossy, she was a tremendous female. She was just a moderate cow, just a really easy doing cow, just great constitution, great durability. She was sired by a bull called Flu, and we'd seen a picture of Flu, and he was in a magazine I saw in France, and I was really struck by just the way his legs were set, just the way he was standing on. I saw his picture, he was standing on some concrete, and just the way his legs were set and everything just seemed right about the bull. But we don't like using genetics unless we've actually seen them. So I flew over there with a friend of mine, and we were over there basically just there and back within a week, over to France, and we had this. We drove for about 8 hours with these French people, and they just drove through all these little narrow roads, and we were driving down the road and got to a place near Lyon, and I looked up on this hill and I saw this bull, and I thought, geez, that looks like a magnificent bull, but not really thinking anything of it. Next thing we were going up the driveway, and that was the bull that we went all that way to see. And he was just a terrific bull, this Flu. And he was the mother of, he sired the mother of Evolution. And and then on the sire side, Brumby, he was actually sired by a bull that went back to Palgrove. We went over to the Palgrove sale. I'd seen on a video this bull, and he was fairly well back in the catalogue, but he was a bull that we really liked, a bull called Palgrove Accept. And so we bred the son from him, which was Brumby, with the old Aussie connection, I guess. And he was a terrific, just that same soundness and structure. He, back in his pedigree, he had a bull called Jonah, and Jonah was a terrific bull as far as the structure and constitution and durability. And he'd also done well over in Australia and New Zealand and things like that. So had a great background in his pedigree, but he was just special right from the day he was born. We just saw him. Anna and I were out in the paddock. It was a cold, wet day. Went out there, saw this calf, and thought,
it was love at first sight.
It was, yeah. So it's pretty cool just to think how he's just gone on and just had such an impact.
Hey, Brent, before you go, the rise of spring bull sales and, of course, yearling heifer sales, is this good for the industry in terms of more quality beef genetics going out there?
Well, it's another option for people, and a lot of those yearling sales are gaining more traction. If you look overseas, us, I guess, and Australia, we sell a lot of 2-year-old bulls, and often it's because of the nature of the country that they go into. But if you look in North America, there's a lot of yearling sales, mainly yearling sales, really. So, it seems to be an ongoing, and it's a trend that seems to be rising. In many cases, just in some of the real harder country, a lot of those bulls are going to struggle, but people will adapt and make the bulls accordingly. So it seems to be going really well.
You're a very well-travelled man on the road, checking out the progeny of Silverstream. Joel would like to know where he should visit. Where is those favourite little hot spots around the North Island? Challenging you on this question to close. What's your go-to place that you really love in the North Island? You can't say a bull sale.
Mahi is where my in-laws come from.
Of course. Well, we've got so much trouble with Jill and Pete. Mahi is beautiful.
Yes, Jill and Pete. They would welcome Joel with open arms. So that would be great. I love Northland. I love, just up in that Northland area. I think it's just such an underrated place in New Zealand. Russell and things like just stunning places. Like we are blessed, I guess, in New Zealand to have such a wonderful country and so many great places to visit. So, yeah.
There we go, Joel. Note those down, and I would like a report back on what you learned from Jill and Pete when you go and stay with them on Mahia Peninsula. Wonderful. Brent Fisher there from Silverstream Charolais. This is Sarah's Country.